Begin our meditation today. Let's begin with soul centering. The human experience is one in which the soul is inhabiting a physical body. A human body and having a human experience. Let's center the soul in itself first. So bring your attention away from your senses to the very center of your soul being. And how do you do that? By centering in the mind and centering in the heart and giving attention to the pranas that feed the mind and the senses. You bring the pranas within, you direct them within. So use the breath to do that, because prana operates the breath. It operates the mind. It operates the senses. And it operates all the functions of the body. So using the breath, breathe deeply into the chest area. That is the center of the human experience, the soul's center in the human experience. Breathe deeply into the center of the chest. Expanding, opening up your love to loving being, and then breathe out slowly and completely. Focusing on the chest first, and coming into a space of emotional calmness. That's soul centering. Because you live in a human body and you're so intimately connected with the human body, it takes time to refocus to the center of your soul. So respect that. Slowly let go of the body as you do when you go to sleep. Go to the center of the heart. It's a good place to be. It is the center of loving being. So you're turning love into yourself. You're directing love to yourself, which is the source of all love. So you're directing love to its very soul, to its very source. So it's important in doing this to remember that it's a centering exercise. So it's less about focusing at a point and more about centering at the very source of your being, the source of all love. So you're centering into the heart, which is an expansive space. So you're bringing your attention to the very center of being. Using the breath to do that and focusing on the center of loving being. Follow me, I'm doing it with you. The pranas will become slower. The mind will become more silent. And the senses will become more pacified. This one is the sense of touch. The heart center. Related to the sense of touch. Silence in the heart. That's soul centering. And because you're using your mind to do this, to give attention, become aware of your mind as well. It's a silent mind, but you're more focused at the center of the chest. In a physical sense, in an energetic sense, the center of all love. Keep on doing this. It really brings you to self-love. And to the very source of love. Makes all the difference in the world. And let go of thoughts. If you observe carefully, you'll feel that nerves become supported, revitalized. Slowly breathe. And if you can feel the support of the energy, and by that I mean you begin to feel that center of love within you. And you begin to feel that the mind is allowing you to do it. And now you can gently focus at the center of the eyebrows. Keeping that heart connection. If the chakra of the eyebrows is open, you'll feel a wonderful little pull there, energetic pull, helping you to come to center. And that's how we see the guru power within us, which is at the brow, can help to pull us to center. Stay with me. If you have a rested body and a relaxed body, this will become easier to do. If the body is tense for any reason, and it's not allowing you to go deeper, then just go to the navel and soothe the body's nerves by breathing into the gut slowly and deeply until you feel that your body becomes more and more pacified. Don't neglect the physical body. It is asking for its due when it disturbs you, to be put to sleep, to be soothed. Stay with me. Stay fully conscious. Stay absorbed in the pranas that guide you within. So this is nourishing the heart, nourishing the brain, and nourishing the mind. And this is a soul centering in itself. Of course, we're doing this co-creatively, as I'm in your field, and you're in mine. That allows for marvelous co-creation in the Guru principle. So I'm not giving any attention to the crowd. I'm just expanding the brow. Don't go to any mythical place that you don't know and just hold in your imagination. Stay with what is, what you're experiencing. Give meaning to it. And now work intuitively with the breath. If the breath feels to expand, you've expanded. If it feels to slow down, let it slow down, but you should be energized. not devitalized by what you're doing. And if the body calls for attention, just go down to the navel, go down to the root, and continue to breathe in the body while staying centered at the top, including perineum focus, lower spinal column focus. So when the body calls you, stay with it. Nourish it in the soul's energy field. Until it allows you, like a child that has fallen asleep, and allows you to go. And now I'm taking my attention on the whole column because I want to nourish my eyes. I go into my brow and soothing the nerves in the eye area. And I want to nourish the brain because it's always actively used. So I have a body awareness, but only in so much as to energize it from the center of my being and not to neglect it. But the very center of my being dominates everything. Center of the mind, center of the heart. And I'm holding it in divine awareness. I'm acknowledging that the space of infinite peace and love and prana that I'm tapping into is the divine within me. Stay with me. Stay in the silence. Stay intuitive. And stay with the energy. If some of you feel mantras are coming to mind, repeat them. Let them resonate in the silence. That means you are hearing them more than you are mentally repeating them. They become easy to repeat as you're hearing them as well as saying them. More than anything else, continue to observe the nourishment in the field. That you're being nurtured in a field. That is divine. And what your sleep this morning didn't give you, you can get it here. Gently breathe the prana, just as is necessary. Whether it's little or whether it is much that is called for. Begin to intimately know your system. I love repeating mantras in this space. As their resonance energize me. And the silence continuously stays in my awareness as my background. Expand your awareness slowly to the physical field once more. Staying centered in the inner space. This requires gross breathing. Push the air out of the lungs and bring air in consciously as you breathe. Slowly out and slowly and deeply in. As you fill the lungs fully by opening belly, chest, and breathing into the throat area, expanding the shoulders. Senses begin to become energized. And your soul becomes more conscious of the world around you. Give attention to the elements of nature. Earth is beneath you, air around you, and space. You can feel the impact of the sun, and you can feel warmth in your own body, the fire element. Water element you can feel within your body and in the atmosphere around you. And become conscious of the human experience. Breathe deeply. Welcoming the outer space. It's a space that your karmas allow you to navigate. Let's welcome this day in centering prayer. I center my consciousness in the source of my being, the God within me. That source of infinite peace, love, goodness, wisdom, and vitality. I stay centered there consciously, that may every thought in this day, may every word, may every action come from the light and be a blessing to my world. I give thanks for all the blessings that I received from my universe. In every moment, and I pray to continue to be worthy of them. Om. Peace, peace, peace. Namaskar, everyone, and Sunday greetings to all of you, wherever you are. Always a joy to be with you. I hope that the meditation today was instructive and insightful. I tried to make it so. The human journey continues as I'm in the human experience, you are. Of course, we are not the human body, but we are souls in a human experience. It's a delightful place to be if the body is not disturbing you or distracting you. Sometimes it can be a burden. If the body is supporting you and your mind, your emotional being, and your pranas are centered in the source of your being, then you have much more management over them. And if they're not, well, then you need to really do the meditation again a few times and consciously pray for the grace to stay in that space of silence. And I always say it's possible to do everything in the silence. We may think that silence has no doing, but silence allows magnificent doing. It allows you to see more, hear more, perceive more, and allows you to come from a better place within your being to meet and greet and treat with your world. Silence is so important, but of course, it's work in progress for us. Doesn't come easily, but grace brings it to us when we are deserving through our practices. And remember that the universe is about choice. The divine allows you everything, darkness and light and everything. You are the choice maker. you you give your power away to life and think that you are not the choice maker, but you are. Ultimately, it comes down to you to decide what you really want. When you're undecided, you go this way, you go that way. Your feet are in different places. Life becomes miserable. And then you look for that place. So it's extremely important to really figure out why you're in this world and to live your purpose fully. Only then you feel energized when you're living your purpose. If you're not living your purpose, life is miserable every day because you're living without true purpose. I want to thank all those of you who joined me in Global Conversations, and that continues. And remember, every one of you who's serious about the journey has the opportunity. Let's inquire the Blue Star, and all information will be given to you to join us in a global conversation. That continues next week. And of course, what I would like for those of you who are following the conversation is to give attention to the practices that work for you or that you need to deal with managing the ego in the human experience. Last week, in last week's conversation, I tried to get you to a place where you can understand the ego better. One of the things that we usually get caught in is to talk about the ego as something outside of us. Seeing it in everybody and being able to talk about it, but not personalizing it, that the ego is actually me. So we need to own our ego. We need to realize that we cannot have an I without having an ego. The I is the ego. I'm using the ego to communicate with you. But it's a servant ego. It's completely in service to the universe, which means it gets all its direction from the universe. So to the extent to which you understand the ego will be the extent to which you'll practice, right? So I'm very interested in your practices. What are you practicing to deal with this ego drive that you have within you that can really be miserable sometimes because it's difficult to control? You see it, but you can't control it. You can't manage it. How do you really manage the ego experience? That's ultimately the main thing on the spiritual journey. And of course, on the spiritual journey, if you don't learn to manage this, life lifetimes will be long and you'll have many, many, many because you're not treating with the real source of spiritual growth. You're delaying the transformation of the ego. You get caught in so many things all over the place. And they all seem to be important, except the root of who you are. The who am I? So what is important for me is to see your depth of understanding of the ego and the extent to which you are learning how to manage it. That is what is important for me. Because that's how I can guide you more and help you on the journey. Of course, it's a personal journey. I'm only trying to guide you on your very personal journey. You are the one to make the decisions. You are the one to explore. You are the one to see where the ego is, where it is captured in the human experience, where it is limited in its thinking. And it's a beautiful journey when you can do that. Of course, when I didn't have the divine support, I was miserable, depressed because I couldn't manage this ego thing. Couldn't manage my mind, couldn't manage my emotions, felt loveless, felt scattered, hopeless, not connected. But the moment I could feel the presence of the divine, it made a huge, huge, huge difference. And that's where the guru comes in. I couldn't be awakened in the human life unless I found the master. Well, of course, finding the master doesn't necessarily mean that you have to go to a physical master. The master can come to you. Of course, that happened to me first. I dreamt the master even before meeting him. So having that kind of spiritual awakening and that support of the inner space is extremely important. Now, when you have it, you need to cherish it. It's precious. You need to treasure every word of the instruction of a master. If a master puts attention in you, treasure every word. Try to understand. Because the master is not going to speak wastefully, purposelessly, randomly. The master is precise, deliberate. So it's extremely important to understand those words. That has been so precious to me. Of course, with my master, there was much more of an inner connection than the outer. But the writings meant everything to me. The voice meant everything to me. Observing him meant everything to me. Aligning myself to the path that he taught was extremely important for me. And then I found him within me most powerfully. And that happened dramatically in his own presence. So the master has been very vital to my journey, inner and outer. And that made all the difference in my sadhana. I would say that then he was the one that carried me, of course. But it was that. It was more than just a human that carried me on the journey. It's extremely important to know that you have taken a body for the sake of learning and growing. You didn't take a body to come here to enjoy this plane. What is there to enjoy on this plane? Growing old? Having your body deteriorate? What is magnificent on this plane? This is bhuloka, the lowest. What is magnificent in on this plane is having a soul, a soul's identity, finding your soul power, and using that to drive the body masterfully, full of light. Doesn't matter how the body is, where it is, you bring the best out of it. That is the joy of this plane. Becoming more soul conscious and learning how to drive the body But transform it first and keep it optimally healthy. Optimally, because it's going to have many deficiencies, handicaps. Doesn't matter. Use all the faculties that you have to drive this body masterfully and not abusing it. You may think that you're not abusing the body, but I can show you so many ways in which you abuse it. When you sit all day, you're abusing the body because the body was meant to move. When you don't breathe enough, you starve the body of oxygen. When you use the brain sitting in a chair and looking at a computer all day, you're starving the brain of oxygen. Every so often, you need to surface and breathe deeply, being conscious that your brain cells need oxygen. And when you do not recharge your nervous system, which you can do, highly do, through pranayama, you're abusing your body when you do not keep your nervous system revitalized and recharged. And when you become older, and you begin to feel it, remember to deeply dive into the spiritual journey of transformation. You need a strong nervous system. You cannot abuse it through all the stimulants you take, continuous pleasure in the nervous system. It will burn it out. What will happen to your spirituality? How would the nervous system and brain are extremely important in the rise of energies along your body. So you need to keep your nervous system recharged. You need to keep your brain intact. And when you eat more than is necessary, what do you think happens? You abuse the body. When you eat just for taste and not conscious of what the food is doing to your body, wrong quality food, compromised, the body becomes toxic, liver becomes toxic, blood becomes toxic. The systems within the body begin to labor. That's body abuse. And all of us are intelligent enough to know when the food is not right, when the exercise is not enough, when the sleep is not enough, when we don't hydrate enough, when we don't relax enough. We know what happens. And the next thing is, some of you lays on your bed, right? You wake up and you think that just sleeping at the bed and lying down will revitalize you. It doesn't. You're wasting your time. Sleep, when it's very deep, will restore the body. The body detoxes in the deep sleep. But when you wake up, you need to use your soul power to do the rest. So get up from the bed when you know the body wakes up and it doesn't want to go into deep sleep anymore. Get up from the bed. Hydrate, do your pranayama, move about, and prepare the body for activity. Detox it through breathing and through hydration and through gentle exercise. Your body will immediately feel better. And then sit down for meditation so you can recharge your nervous system, so you can prepare your mind, your body, your senses for a new day. If you don't have that in your routine, you're in trouble. A lot of you would just lie in the bed and just go to bed and just shut your eyes and think that you're resting. No, that's not rest. When the body comes out of a deep sleep and you just lie there thinking, jump out of your bed. Get cracking. Get a move on. Breathe. Hydrate. Move until the body and the senses come alive. And then sit to meditate for a little bit so that you could center yourself and you can prepare for a new day. That's the way of the enlightened, the way of the wise. That's my Sunday advice to you. I hope that you can cherish it. And I didn't talk down to you. I never would. I share with you what I do. When my body wakes up and I lie on the bed, I know that this is trouble if I just lie there. So I jump out of the bed and do exactly what I told you. And then I enjoy the morning air. Then I enjoy being with my body and exercising it. Then I enjoy feeling the lungs. And I enjoy look at how my body feels. I enjoy looking at my face in the mirror, seeing it's recharged. And I am ready for a new day. I'm with my body. So be your body's best friend and not its enemy. So next week we'll talk about, in the global conversation, about the ways of dealing with the ego, the practices. It's all in the 40 days of 2020. If you go there and look, you'll find all the information that you need on how to treat with the ego and how to understand the ego. So we'll try to support you as best as we can in directing you to information. But I want you during the week to really observe observe how you're meeting and treating with the ego experience. And remember, you are the ego. I am the ego. I am is the ego. Be a joyful ego. Be a God conscious ego. Be a God centered ego. And be an ego in divine service to life. Have a blessed day, everyone. Namaskar.